5 hours of summer once a week. Yeah. 5 hours of summer one Saturday morning.
All right. I'm Loki, and I am burdened with glorious purpose and TV show reviews. And I'm also Rashad, and I'm your host. It's time for Color Commentary, where we give you views from a different side. And I'm joined by my co-host, my compadre,
Chuck Taylor, here also with glorious purpose. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. We want to be in your lives, all in your lives.
That's right. It's time now to talk about Loki. Ding 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 ding. So we have just recently finished the last episode of season 2 of Loki, and so we're going to talk about that right now because that's what we do at Color Commentary. We comment on things. So, Mr. Chuck Taylor, why don't you go ahead and begin the commenting, sir? What you got? Season 2 of Loki.
I feel like I've done this about 1,000 times already. Like, I keep seeing myself, keep reliving the same thing again. You know, I don't know. This show
See you soon.
The show was amazing. I'm gonna just let it that. It was amazing. Big ups to the writers, the producers, the directors, the actors, of course. Loki himself. What's your boy?
Tom Hiddleston.
No, not
Owen Wilson, Mr. Jet Ski himself.
Yes, Jet Ski, but I'm talking about your boy Kane. He did his
Jonathan Majors.
Timely. Yes, Jonathan Majors. I enjoyed his timely. Was it Victor Timely? Was his name?
Victor Timely.
I like how he did his what's the dude that always sit in the chair?
He Who Remains.
He Who Remains. There you go.
So about 50% of this show so far has been helping you out here. So
basically, hey, this is a while. I gotta remember these names again. Like, who is this person? That's part of my mystique over here. Not knowing
right. That's what makes you mysterious. He doesn't know anybody's name.
His name.
Let's watch more. Who else's name doesn't he know?
Oh, but yeah, this show had everything in it, man. It was like cool mystery. I really enjoyed this Loki interaction with the female Loki. I'm gonna just call her Sylvie. And see, I didn't ask for help. I just told you I was gonna call her female Loki, but she gave me the name. So Sylvie, having them two interact, seeing Loki really
hard-headed Loki.
Yeah, that one. I'm gonna kill him anyway. You'll never stop me. But yeah. Loki, Tom, that dude can act his ass off, man.
Yeah.
Like that dude, he makes those scenes just like so impactful. Seeing just how much he cares about his fellow time travel people, TVA officers, and like he getting to see in their lives like what they were doing once the unraveling happened with the timelines. And kind of jumped into where each person came from the timeline. What were they doing? We had a doctor. We had one that was selling jet skis. We had one that was in prison. We had one that was a failed author. So it was kind of cool, and him bringing them all back in to try to fix that problem. And then at the end of it, understanding that he couldn't just fix the problem. Loki's he's always selfish. He's always been selfish. Like all of anything he wants it for him. Like it's always about me. And even when he gets it, he messes it up and he blames somebody else for why he messed it up. So having him have to come full circle, I'm like, dang, if I want this, I want these people that I care about to be alive and be on the little lives, I gotta sacrifice mine. And that was pretty cool to see that it just like brought up it just, I don't know, it put a nice bow on the show. Like it ended really good with him taking the reins of, I can't fix this thing. When with the timelines being um chilled off because Kane already had it set up for his particular line to stay open, and it's going to kill all the other lines that are created. And he just couldn't fix it. Like he worked, like he just worked so hard. He was going back in time. He was learning all this physics. Like I kept seeing, like even when he had the part that was so cool was like when he had Victor Tommy, even though the mug kept getting messed up like 1,000 times. Like that was beat up. I'm like, dang. He was like, another time. He just come back and I was like, tighten that up. Hurry up, don't drop that. He was like, But seeing like, the audience were all with them, and it was like, they're about to get it. Oh, John, they got it, they finally got it. He done figured it out. And then that shit still blew up. I'm like, dang, what you about to do now? I was like, he didn't fix it. He did this like 1,000 times, it still ain't work. And then He Who Remains, bro, when he broke out a character, that gave me Kane bonds right there, bro. He was like, oh, how many times you done this? It was like just slick with it. He was just like, oh, okay. So, what you gonna do? He's like, why you keep letting her kill you? And he's like, just stops her real quick and like rolls her back. And like, he's just like, this dude is like super, like a super god mode over here. Like he just been playing around, all these times. He's like, yeah, I ain't dying. I know that. I know that I ain't gonna die. But what are you gonna do?
I didn't pick up on it initially. Like, I just knew, like, I didn't really care for He Who Remains in the first episode. I mean, the first season at the end. I just thought he was weird. But it's like, there's something about this one I like. Like, I like this one. And then I realized, yeah, you're right. He dropped character. He was like the Black He Remains. He was like, he was just chill. It's like, all right. He sat back in his chair a little bit. All right. It's like the way he was talking. He was just chill. It's like, this guy I like.
Yeah, like it's like, that's why I was like, they got to give Jonathan Majors like the reins when they cast him as this character. Like they keep like kind of put him in a box, so when he gets a chance to just like open his wings and be the Kane that we all want to see, like that mastermind, type of chess piece over here, just like taking everybody out and always 2 or 3 steps ahead of everything. Like that's what the type of King I want to see. And like just with the show, I learned this after watching the show, but it's like I'm thinking that might be the King that we see in Quantumania, and what's the Ant-Man show, because it was like some theories, like way he talks about who he was. Some people call me this, some people call me Conqueror, some people call me it's like, and he like broke it down. I was like, you know what? That actually, because he's living forever, so it's like he could have been that particular person. And he was like, man, I'm tired of just going and blowing stuff up. I'm gonna just figure another way just to have this junk on auto repeat and do it that way. And then he kind of got stuck there, having to be the person in the tower and watch everything because he can't really do nothing else. So I think he kind of felt like he was in prison almost, because he did taunt Loki about, hey, you don't sit in a big chair. Like, that's where the real choices come. You can't be sitting there talking all the smack if you ain't over here willing to sit on this chair like I've been doing for I don't know how many years he been there, And then Loki had like, oh well, I'm ready. I done been time slipping for about 10,000 years now, so I'm ready to go. I done got God mode, and that scene with him walking out there and grabbing things, and he turned into his full Loki stuff. Now they got him the Loki. What's the story? What's the story of Loki?
God of Stories.
God of Stories. Like, I like the title of that. It was a beautiful show. I enjoyed it all.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of good stuff about it. Back when we were in Amway, that's how Chuck and I first met. We had this thing called being SNI-up, which means that you were susceptible to the negative influence of other people. And I guess I've been POP'd. spiot, because I am susceptible to the positive influences of other people. Because the more that I hear people talk about it, it's like, I'm liking this a lot more, and I did like it. I did like this. However, I find myself at the very end of Loki feeling some type of way about it. I really did. Maybe I was the only person. Perhaps I'm going to tell you the things I liked about it, and then I'm going to tell you the things I didn't like, so you guys can agree with me fully, because I know that you will once you think about it. Once the emotional high comes down. I will say the standpoint of Loki himself was a great story. From top to bottom, it made so much sense. He came in, first time he shows up in Avengers, I am Loki. And I even remember this. Like, it meant something to me. I am Loki, and I am burdened with glorious purpose. I love that line. Like, that line is just like so strong. And then at the beginning of this show, that's the same thing, has his same thinking, and he wants to become, Owen Wilson makes fun of him. It's like, and then what? What are you gonna do then? Yeah, I'm the king of space. You want to become the king of space? But he at the end, he gets what he wanted, but it's not what he wanted, but it's what he has to do. It's so much character growth. I love it. And again, like you said, in terms of his acting, man, like that last scene where he's sitting there on the throne with his crown on, but that smile is like, I got what I want, but this is not what I wanted. It's like he's able to convey so much without saying a word. You know what I mean? Like, some people, they have to tell you how they feel. You could just see it on his face. Same thing when the loom first exploded, and you just see him just like, oh crap, it's coming. And it's like, he's just so subtle but so good at being able to express. So in terms of Loki himself, I really loved it. And then, so that's everything I was going to say. And then I told you, and I said about the black, he remains. He should remain black. I liked him. And Victor Tomlin started to grow on me. I didn't like him initially with his, the power of the universe is. What are we doing, man?
And everybody was talking about him too. Even what was the last variant?
The He Who Remains.
Oh, He Who Remains was talking. He was like, "Oh, you Victor timely." He like started stuttering. I was like, "Dang, everyone been killing Victor, bro." He got messed up like a billion times. Dang.
Yeah. His character grew on me after when we were going to get to the 4th episode, and I absolutely love when he died that first time, bro. I was not prepared. I hate that somebody spoiled it for me a little bit, because they were like, right before I watched the episodes and I posted on Facebook, they're like, oh, so I guess Marvel is literally cutting ties with Jonathan Majors. I'm like, oh crap, they don't kill them all. So I had some idea that was going to happen, but it still caught me off guard, because the way that it happened, he's like, I'm good. Blue. Dang. Yes. But I did have some problems with it, because I felt like the show had built up, some of the characters around it, particularly in that 5th episode. They built up characters to be important, and then they kind of left the storylines just there. Like, prime example is Victor Tomlin himself. Yes, in the last episode, you see the little kid not get the book. Okay, cool. But what about the adult Victor Tomlin? Like, what happened to him? Did they just put him back? What happened with him? Like, is he a king? Is he not a king? They just kind of dropped that. What about Miss Minutes and Ravonna? They built up this whole thing about, seems like Ravonna and Kang were like lovers or something like that, and then Miss Minutes got let the secret out, and so they were really kind of delving into that. I mean, they were really like, 4th episode, like going hard on that. I mean, they were literally just slaughtered a whole room full of people.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of did nothing with that. Like the resolution to that was Loki walking into the room. It's like, Miss Minutes, I know you're mad, but I need your help. She's like, wait. And that was it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, they just kind of, yeah, you see them like talking about her at the end. But they just kind of dropped it. And same thing with Ravonna Renslayer. To me, it's an obvious setup that she's going to show up someplace else. She's going to be important in other episodes. I mean, in other things associated with the Marvel Universe. They can't just end her story there. But just how they set her up as far as being so important, being upset, and they just kind of dropped it. B-15, she was a nurse or something like that. I guess they did it okay. No, that's sorry, she's a doctor. I'm so sorry. I guess they did a decent job with her. But OB, he's the one that created the TVA, kinda. It's just like they made all these characters so important, and then they really didn't have any real good ending for them. They just kind of were there at the end because of Loki's actions. That was the thing for me. That really just kind of threw me off. Same thing with Sylvie. Did we see Sylvie at the end?
Killing he who what yeah he was at she was at the end. Remember she when Speedboat dude wanted to get out, he said he was gonna go figure out what he was gonna do next. She was right beside him at his where he was looking at his family.
Okay.
And then she left him and said that she got other stuff to do, type of thing.
Okay. So these I boiled it down to two main complaints. What happened with those characters, but also the main complaint is Kang. Okay. If this show did not have Kang in it at all, if He Who Remains was just some completely unrelated character, then to me this show would have been even better. Because it's a self-contained show. But I feel like they almost tried to pigeonhole Kang stuff in here. So it's like at the end of episode 6, this is the first time that you actually hear Kang in the Marvel Universe. Episode 6 of the first season, right? He Remains shows up. Oh, and Nathaniel Richards meet this variance, and then they try to kill each other, and they caused a multiversal war. Okay, Kang's all over the place, right? Cool. And then there's a whole thing. If we kill him, then there's gonna be a whole bunch of Kangs showing up. Okay, so they're building suspense. Then Sylvie kills him, Captain Hardheaded. Kills him. And then the next thing you know, Loki is someplace where there's a statue of Kang. So you're like, oh man, the Kangs are coming. Like, so this season should have been picking up on the cliffhanger of the first season, which was the Kangs. And in the first episode, you even see the wall of Kangs. But then you find out, he didn't go to a different universe. He just went back in time. It's not really Kang. It's He Who Remains had always been there, but he tried to cover his stuff up. And then no mention of Kang really in the second episode. He Who Remains, Victor Timely shows up. No real mention of Kang. No real mention of Kang at all. The only time you hear Kang at all is when you get to the 6th episode of the second season. And when Loki and He Remains are talking, he's like, oh, by the way, my Kangs are still out there. That's it. He just name dropped them. They literally didn't have to have the second season at all in terms of Kang. So again, if Loki were a self-contained show, not having anything to do with Kang, then that would make perfect sense. But them adding that in there that as a big cliffhanger, and then you don't deliver on the cliffhanger, like at that part, that definitely bothered me. Because, I'm at the point with the MCU in general, I just don't like the fact that they're putting out these things that are not really related. I think that is what has hurt so many people. It's that they could be related. It's not that they're so far removed from each other that the shows don't make, they don't fit together at all. These shows could fit together, but they just decide not to make them fit together. All you need is just little Easter eggs, characters that show up from one show to the next or something like that. But they just refuse to do it. And so therefore it's a lack of direction. And that's how I felt at the end of Loki. It's like, that was really cool that Loki is now, holding the whole multiverse together. He's got the whole world in his hands. Like, that's cool. But what does that have to do with the multiversal war? What does that mean now? Like, is He Who Remains not there anymore? Like, that's the part. So that was the part I didn't like. The quality of the show, I got to give him props to that, but I just didn't like that. So I know you want to rebut. So what you got?
I ain't really much gonna say rebut. I thought that I see what you mean with the king. I don't know. I thought the show did really well, so I didn't really find anything that I was negatively affected by. I mean, I knew they kind of probably had some changes with the king stuff, but just mainly because of how Jonathan Majors um personal life type of stuff was going on. So they was like, hey, we gotta kind of make sure we're kind of covered in this situation just in case he can't finish it or we can't move forward with this. So I think that's why they kept the Kang stuff in there. Like, hey, this is my variants are gonna, are already here type of thing. And since we already know they're outside of time and space, so they're not really trimming them. Even though they did say like they said a little thing with the TVA talking about the Kang that was with I think on Ant-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I said, but it seems like they got that one on wraps or type of thing. Like they took care of them. So hearing that, so I see how they kept them in there. So if they do bring them more to a prominent role once everything gets settled, they can go that way, or they can just say, hey, the TVA is taking care of him, and he has a less of a major role, and they can pivot to something else. So I hear Doctor Doom. That's all I keep hearing is Doctor Doom. And especially with the Secret Wars or the multiverse or whatever, he had a big comic book connection to that particular I guess with the multiverse of Secret Wars, like he's like the puppet master type of thing. With that's based off what I've heard from other YouTubers or reading articles or stuff like that. So I guess I kind of want to see what's going on. I like Jonathan Majors. I want to see him really bring Kang to life and get the full gist of his character, kind of like how we saw with Thanos, because Thanos didn't do nothing for it was like 12 years before we actually had him say something on the screen. It felt like it was like 12 years or like 10 years. Like talking about the end of Avengers, we waited like another 3, 4, 5 years, and then he got to talk a little bit on Guardians of the Galaxy, I think.
He actually wasn't all that threatening in Guardians of the Galaxy either.
Yeah, and he did. And then, people talking junk to him. Right. So then he kind of came in on the Infinity War, and I was like, oh, this dude is that dude. Like, when we saw when he did the Hulk up on like the first 10 minutes of the show, I'm like, oh,
yeah,
okay. And he out here just killing cats, taking power stones out of people's heads like that. I'm like, oh, okay, this dude is a beast.
But see, the difference is, in that 4 or 5 years, whatever time period it was, we had like 6 movies. Yeah. But in like the last 2 years, we've had like 10 movies and TV shows. So even though it's been even a shorter period of time, it feels like it's been longer. You know what I mean? Sense. So it's like they got to understand, they got to build. If they're going to produce so much stuff, they're going to have to ramp it up faster. Yeah,
you're right. So, all in all, I really like the show though. So I think that's definitely the best one. I know we did a poll on our page. I think Loki was the top one, I believe. At least last I looked, it was close to that one and the Winter Soldier and Falcon show.
Yeah, I was surprised that many people had that one. I mean, I thought it was a decent show, but to me, I'm surprised that WandaVision wasn't up there because we were all talking about WandaVision. Like social media, Twitter was on fire, bruh. At work, when Pietro showed up, that's all. What does this mean? What does this mean? That's everybody was like,
everybody is so focused on how to bring X-Men. No, we saw that on your Marvel. So you saw me in there. Like I was excited when I saw just some X-Men. Like there goes Bees. Like okay, I'm excited now. I want to see what they're gonna do. But I wasn't like I was with WandaVision though. But I think that probably was the pandemic thing. The pandemic did have a big thing. We couldn't go nowhere. Everybody kind of felt like this is like we're all watching it together type of thing because we can't go outside. People watch these shows on Disney Plus, so maybe that was it.
Well, I think that Marvel has kind of fumbled the bag just a little bit. Not a tremendous amount on the X-Men, but a little bit. Like definitely when you first saw Pietro in WandaVision, everybody was going crazy. But then they turned that into what is his name? What was it? Boner, a boner joke. They turned it into a dick joke. So
Yeah.
it's like, all right, so that brings down the level a little bit. All right, this brings we're still good, but dang, like y'all really kind of that's kind of messed up right there. Okay, then was it a Multiverse of Madness? That was pretty cool. You brought okay, Professor X is here. All right,
Yeah.
that's cool. Oh,
Kills it.
y'all don't straight up murdered this dude.
Y'all murdered
Okay,
him so bad too. Got his face
yeah,
ripped apart in the
yeah.
dream. Y'all don't
So
have to do my boy like that.
like it didn't branch into something else. Like he's dead. Like okay, I guess so. That means with to me they could have killed off a lot of people, but by killing off Professor X, that means that okay, so I guess it's not going to be Captain Picard. It's going to be the next one is going to be somebody else. They could have brought in Morph from the cartoon, who's not really a real character, and just killed him. You know what I mean? And then they made Kamala Khan a mutant. Like okay, it just kind of easing it down a little bit. So it's like it's not as high. The fever is not as high as quite as it was. So, but they still have an opportunity with us to get that done. Just don't fumble the bag. But anyway, what do you guys think? Leave a review, comments, blah blah blah. Subscribe to survive. Views from a different side. Run out of battery. Peace.
Peace.
5 hours of summer, once a week. Yeah. 5 hours of summer, one Saturday morning.